Thank you. Apologize for the extra noise, but I can start reading mine. So, what went not so well for me? I still think the process of milestones is confusing. We're still having like I closed an issue or moved it to 12.3, but it should have been closed. Um, I think it still seems like it's important to commit to a milestone because we have these kickoff calls and we have our blog posts, but it's pretty confusing for us to figure out how those fit in with our work and priorities and things like that. So I think more work to be done on that one. And yeah, I had a lot of meetings this week, all worthwhile and customer meetings and interviews and stuff. But it all added up to being like not so much of a productive week for me, which doesn't feel great. But I think those are my only two negatives. Otherwise, it was a good week.
So for me, this week I somehow just had a few days that were like really speckled with meetings, and then that kind of just like kept me from getting into that like sort of long focused groove. That's always nice to be in. And today I ended up going co-working, which is on my what went well. But it also was another thing that kind of, I was meeting people and socializing a little bit. So it kind of made me feel like I was sort of just falling behind this week. But other than that, everything was pretty good this week. That was the only thing that I really had to note.
Cool. Thank you for that. I've personally just been struggling to sort of keep on top of my priorities. I've had a lot going on and, meetings and stuff. I've certainly got to the point where I don't feel like meetings are a waste. I totally think meetings are worthwhile. Hashtag manager. Just put the hashtag in, right? And it's a bit tough because there's only so much you can do in a day, and then you've got 1,000 other things to do, and it's really hard to feel like you're making good decisions and allocating your energy where it should go when you've just got a list of 1,000 things to do when you finished all the things you did today. So that's difficult. And thanks for the hashtag, whoever put that in the document, winning. But in combination with what I said went well, this is kind of weird because they're kind of in contradiction, which both of mine are. And the other one is, I feel like Tim and my communication, we just kind of got a little bit out of sync there for a bit. And I'm not really sure, probably just because we're both quite busy and we're both sort of jumping around to different things. And so kind of got out of sync. But there's a what went well related to that as well. But I'll hand over to you, Gigi. Go ahead.
Hey. Yeah, for me, I think the negative theme has been the merge request. That's been taking longer than I expected, and it's a bit frustrating. Lessons learned for me there is to try to push smaller merge requests. But even the small ones are taking a long time. So that is what it is. And the good thing on the week, I think, was also like socializing, co-working. I had like a good co-working day. Had a few one-on-ones, which were good. Having another one today. Yeah, all good.
Cool. So onto a happier note for us. I'm really happy with the storage optimization epic and all of the issues that are sort of being broken out there. Dan gave me some great advice, which was to start just creating issues to break writer's block, and that really helped. So I'm feeling like I'm seeing the full picture of how that epic could unfold, which is cool. And Ian really got up to speed this week and did a great job in creating and iterating on the survey that he sent out. And I really put a lot of thought and effort into it. So I'm looking forward to seeing those results and what we do next with the interview.
So in contrast to what went not so well was I went into Denver. I ventured into the city and co-worked with some people from the Denver area, and interestingly enough, one person from Steamboat, which is where I was this last weekend. So it's just really nice to finally meet some people face to face from GitLab. And there's one front end engineer on the Create team, and a few people in the sales departments. So it's just nice to get some perspective on different parts of the company.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, and then I forgot. Yeah, I had one more. And then the other thing was I do dig into Workhorse a little bit, which wasn't really a big digging into, but realizing that I had to do something with Workhorse at all was a big deal. And so that kind of helped me understand how it's handling HTTP or all of the incoming HTTP calls, and learned a little bit of how object acceleration works, and made my first Go MR, which was one line that was pretty much copy paste, but it still counts.
Totally still counts. Awesome. Nice one.
Did they do anything for lunch at the co-working day in Denver?
What was that?
Did they do anything for food? Like, did you order food or go out?
We were going to, but then it ended up being a smaller group than we expected around lunchtime. So it was just like 3 of us for lunch. I did get a lobster roll, so that was pretty fancy.
That's awesome.
Anytime anyone mentions lobster, I can't help but remember one of my favorite Simpsons gags where Mo goes out for dinner. We're on a date, and he's like, I'll have your finest dish. And the chap who's actually the waiter says, excellent choice, lobster stuffed with taco. It's random. Anyway, on what went well, not that joke. But really feels like we're making good progress on our goals. Like it was a bit stalled out. I think we'd all been sort of getting up to speed on various things, and there's just so much to learn. Like Gigi, as much as it's easy for me to say it, and it's hard to sort of really feel it when we say we get it. It's getting up to speed is tough, and those first MRs are just difficult because it takes a long time. So much to learn, so much process. But definitely feel like we're starting to move forward, and following up with the second one was in relation to the communication with Tim. Was we had a really good conversation this morning, and I think we've got a good plan on how we can move forward with some really good customer value that will be in the next milestone. So it's been, that was pretty cool. And I just quickly will mention, because I think Gigi, you already mentioned you're socializing and stuff, which is great to hear that. I'm really glad. I actually did a kind of a GitLab thing last night. There was a dinner with some peeps who were in town for a conference. So that was pretty cool. We get to go out and hang out, and that was pretty awesome. That's it for me. We're about 10 minutes in. Does anyone want to discuss any of these items in particular, of action items, and how we can help?
Yeah, I was going to mention, to follow up on Tim's first not so well item. I think I've kind of got a good view of the various milestone dates, and how this weekly release relates to the monthly release, and how those relate to the milestone dates, and all of that stuff, and also where to check to see what is on production versus staging. So I could probably do like a little overview at some point over the next week if you want to try to get together and do that.
Maybe in our one-on-one or copy.
Oh yeah, we could do that. Or if anyone else wants to join in, we can pick another time.
Okay.
Dan would like to join.
And we can always film it.
I was going to say we could record, but yeah, I'll just schedule time to review it next week.
Cool.
Okay.
I'll make sure I know what I'm talking about.
So let's add an action item to that. Who's got the action item for that one? Thank you, Tim. And I think the other idea that Tim floated around, I don't know if you got around to creating the issue in our team chat kind of board, but we want to maybe start thinking about doing demo days. I actually had a really nice chat with ZJ, or ZJ as I might say, He's the manager of Giddily. And they do a demo day, but it's a half and half. It's a walkthrough of where they're at with the particular thing they're developing, and then wherever it fails, that becomes the action item for next week and how to fix it. And then the next person in the team does the demo the next week. And so not only is it a, hey, here's what I finished and now this bit works, which is awesome. They also then keep proceeding with that process. I don't know how we map that onto what we're doing with feature development, but that might be kind of a fun way to start doing dog fooding videos. Like I know that's been promoted a lot by Sid and the engineering org to start doing dog fooding and figure out how, not only in a sense of actually use our product for what we do, but also like how do we walk through this live and deal with the areas where it doesn't work so well. Definitely something we should create that issue and have a chat about it. Yeah.
Do you want me to create that issue?
And then I think Gigi on the MRs taking a while, and the advice to create smaller MRs. The other advice that we have, I sort of reached out to some peers to get some suggestions for you as well, just because the APAC factor makes some of what you're dealing with a little more complex in terms of onboarding, just because of the time zones and other factors that we've already talked about, is to put your MRs in a review before they're done. Now, obviously, you don't want to do that too early because it becomes a little bit of noise, but it might be a way to sort of have a little bit of feedback earlier and then get a little bit more like feeling like you're engaged in that process a bit more rather than throwing it at someone and it comes back eventually type thing,
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Cool. Does anyone else have anything in that list that they'd like to raise?
No, but if Nick is watching this, I just want him to know I'm drinking tea, not coffee. He'd be happy.
So everyone say hello to Nick. Cool. All right. Well, that's all I have. Does anyone else want to bring anything up? Cool.
Good.
Bye, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow or later.
Bye-bye.